concentrated work ethic. It's easier to elevate and captivate the earth's presence. When you got it, it's worth flexing. When you got it, it's worth flexing. No question, with a concentrated work ethic, it's easier to elevate and captivate.
I'll be honest on this one. I'm biased as hell with Captivate, but the numbers show it too, though. When I check your stats, your numbers with this particular track, the people they gravitate towards it, and rightfully so. It knocks. The features are tough on there. What was the process behind this, man? It's such an exciting and invigorating track. How did the idea come about and you going out for the features? What was that about?
Okay, first off, I want to shout out Sal Daly.
Okay.
Because he did the track. And this was one of the beats, like, he was actually moving to New York. Like, he was moving to New York. He was leaving the city.
Yeah.
And he was having, like, I don't want to call it a fire sale, because it wasn't like he was like $30 a beat. Like, it wasn't nothing like that. Like, but it was like before he left, he wanted to give Cincinnati people a bunch of music.
Yeah.
So he was like, he was selling a bunch of beats. And I was like, I'm coming through.
Yeah.
Like, and this, I remember him playing this beat, and I was like, oh.
Said, run it.
Like, it reminded me immediately of Rocky.
Yeah.
In the freezer.
This is
like
on my Tear the Gym Up Volume 2 playlist when I go to the gym.
Like, it reminded me of Rocky in the freezer, like hitting the big thing of meat.
Yeah.
Like just going in, like the work that people don't see you do. Like, it reminded me of that. So that's when with a concentrated work ethic.
Yeah.
Like, that's where that came from, was thinking about, like, all of the things that people don't see you do
when you putting in that work on the back end.
Yeah, like that's the Kobe shooting 1,000 jump shots after practice.
Yeah.
Like, that's what that is. Like, that's different. That's a different level. Like, that's what gets you to a certain level, is that work that nobody sees you put in.
Absolutely.
So I looked at that, like, how many freestyles and how many songs have I recorded that nobody ever hears? Like, that's me just sharpening my tool.
Yeah.
So that was my work ethic. So, like, it started from there, and then I had the song for a little minute, like, with my verse on it, and then I was like, I don't want to rap on this song by myself. So I want to get some people. And the first two people I thought about was Monty C. Benjamin, and then I thought about Black Rain originally.
Okay. Shout out to Rain.
Yeah, that's my dog. Now, me and Rain, like, we was in two different like mind states right there, and I couldn't make that work.
Yeah.
But without being able to make that work was a crazy thing, because I was sitting with Homage. And, like, me and Homage was, like, working on some stuff, and I was like, man, I got this record.
Yeah.
Because at that point I had gotten Monty C. Benjamin's verse. So I knew what he said, and I was like, Homage is different than us two.
Yeah.
So what would he bring to the table? And then I left him with the record. And then when he dropped it, I was like, there it goes.
That's it.
Like, the universe worked out the kinks. Like, it was one of them things where it was like, I can't hear anybody else on the song. Like the me and the two people that's on the song, that's how the song was supposed to be originally. Like, so it was one of those things where it's like, it kind of worked itself out.
How I needed to. Yeah.
Like, because, I mean, in that song, you wouldn't know how old that song is. Like,
So
that's
how old
another
is it?
song that's old.
How old?
Around the same time. Like, that song is easily 6 or 7 years old.
Wow.
Yeah. Easily
That's
6
dope.
or 7 years old.
But it sound current.
Yeah.
Like how a lot of great music is.
Yeah, it's like I've heard like stories where people record music and it doesn't come out for like 4 years.
Right.
Like,
Perfect example is with Pharrell and the Grinding track. Like,
Yeah.
Clip said that they had that like in the back pocket for about 4 or 5 years before they came out with it.
Happy.
Yeah.
Like that
was
Pharrell
like 3
song
years.
Happy was
Yeah.
the same way.
Yeah.
Like, he released that on his own like probably like 3 years before that Despicable Me.
I remember reading about that.
Like,
yeah.
and then Despicable Me is the reason that it blew up.
Mhm.
But that song was like 3 or 4 years old.
Yeah.
Like, so it's like, you know, timeless music or whatever you want to call it. Like, it just works.
Yeah.
Like,
Yeah.
that's one of them things.
Don't do it for the fame. Hustle for your last name. Once corrupt, ain't a damn thing changed. Why do it for the fame? Got a lot to lose, not enough to gain. Be honest, it don't feel the same when you do it for the fame. You ride someone else's wave instead of creating your own lane. When you do it for the fame, you get tagged when cameras flash.
Talk to me about Fame, man. What's going on with this track? It's kind of, as far as production wise, all over the place in a good way. But then you have the features, and it almost kind of has like a storytelling element. So explain that if you could.
Once again, shout out to Sal Dally.
I'm not mad at it.
That was another one where he played it, and immediately I was like, I know I need that beat. I have no idea what I'm going to say to it,
Yeah.
but I need it. Like, I need that beat. But the initial like thought process behind the song was more it was more I would say cautionary tale. Like, you know, there's a lot of people that start doing music and they're good at doing music, but then there's always that fork in the road where they say, if you want to be famous, you should do this kind of song.
Okay.
Like, that's the fork in the road where somebody says, they give a suggestion of a type of song or a type of content that you don't necessarily gravitate towards.
Yeah.
And that's when it gets into doing something for fame. Like, they're like, well, all the famous rappers do this kind of record. Mm-hmm. Or this is the type of record that makes people famous. Like, and I mean, like, it's changed over the times. It used to be like, I mean, like, look at LL Cool J didn't really blow up until I Need Love dropped.
Yeah.
But then what he said in place was you had to have a love song on your rap record
Right.
at some point. But then, like, you know, there was all these different kinds of shifts. It was like drug dealer songs. There was, you know, you got to be the toughest person. You got to do this. You got to do that.
Yeah.
And my thing was just like, don't do anything just for the fame of it.
Don't compromise yourself.
Yeah, like, don't compromise yourself for fame. Like,
Right.
if you, like, and not to say, like, compromise yourself for money, but, like, if you're going to do something, make sure it's more lucrative than just being famous. Like, because
That is genuine.
Yeah, like,
Yeah.
like, there are plenty of famous broke people.
Yeah.
Like, you know what I'm saying? Like, so, like, make sure that your best interest is in it and that you can stand on it.
Or like something that you even say that I know you've mentioned a few times behind the scenes, like make sure you do something to where you can get up in the morning and look yourself in the mirror and be cool with it.
Yeah, because I mean, the person that you need to be the most comfortable with is
yourself. Yeah.
Like,
Facts.
because you born alone, die alone. Even if you a twin or a triplet or whatever number you want to put in front of it, you still was born by yourself. Like, no two people are born at the same time.
Absolutely.
Like, so, like, you need to be comfortable with yourself before you're comfortable with anybody else.
Yeah.
But also, like, the features, what's dope about the features is the first feature is Huncho.
Okay.
Which is actually Fire's son. I don't know if you know Fire, but Fire, shout out to her.
Vibe One?
Yeah.
Vibe One's wife?
Yeah.
Gotcha.
So,
okay.
So, like,
right.
That's her son. And then we got Forte, which is like my OG.
Gotcha.
Like, that definitely always gets compared to Scarface because of his voice.
I can hear that. Yeah, that makes sense.
But that's my dog. Like, me and Forte have known each other for a number of years. And I actually got introduced to Forte through his cousin, Earl.
Okay.
So, like, you know what I'm saying? Like, Earl is like my player partner. Like, you know what I'm saying? Like, me and him really started this recording thing together.
Yeah.
And he was like, you got to hear my cousin. And then me and him, we just built a bond. Like, and now, like, we family. Like, that's like my big cuz. Like, but it was perfect the way that song played out because I'm in the middle. Like, I do the first verse, but, like, I set the tone. But, like, Huncho is younger than both of us, so he gives the young perspective of it. And then Forte is older than both of us, so he gives the OG perspective of it.
Makes sense, yeah.
So, like, the way it ends is, like, there was more beat after that. But I was just like, nah, I'm cutting the beat off after that. After he say that last line, the beat got to end. Like, that's where the song ends because there's no reason to bring the chorus back in after that because everything that needed to be said was said. So, yeah, that's Fame.
Let me see them hands. 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 Let me see them hands and everything could go smooth. What you got to prove? Let me see them hands and everything could go smooth.
Let Me See is like when I initially heard it, it came off like a party track. Was that the aim or was that the goal intended? Explain that if you could. What was the inspiration behind Let Me See? Because when somebody initially hear it, especially a chick, they might, it might be one of them things, let him see what? But what we talking about on Let Me See?
So the initial, I will say the initial chorus is party driven.
Okay.
But it was on purpose. This is, once again, shout out to Contracts. This is another Contracts beat.
All right.
So what I wanted to do was kind of give the basis of a party track because it was coming right after Fame, right? Which is like something different in itself. And I was like, I want to kind of like trick them into like, oh, he about to do a party track. And then it's like, actually, I wanted to do a very dark, like, robbery song. Like a I haven't got a chance to tell a story in a while.
Okay.
So I was like, I wanted to tell a story, but I wanted to tell a robbery story. But I'm like, I'm not a robber. Like, I've never robbed anybody in my life. So who could I rob? And I'm like, well, let's just personify Fame. So I'm robbing Fame. So like I just thought about all the different ideas of Fame and how those can look flashy to somebody who doesn't have it. So like I'm robbing Fame.
Gotcha.
So it's one of those things like if you walk past somebody who's starving with all your Jews on, you liable to get robbed.
Right,
It's
right,
like,
right.
you know what I'm saying? Like, it's one of those things. So I was like, it was a cautionary tale at the same time. It's like, don't get so ahead of yourself that you forget that everybody isn't on your level.
Okay.
So like, it's like, at the same time, it could be a party. It could be perceived as a party record, but
Still got a message.
The real message of it is don't forget where you come from.
And I like that about you and your artistry, man. It's like no matter where you take it to musically or sonically, when you have these party sounds and trap beats and all, there's still like a hidden gem that listeners should expect from AC the Entity. And it might not be prevalent on the initial listen, but again, one of those things that I like about your music is something that you do need to spend some time with, because each time you listen, it's going to be something that you take away that's like, wow, I didn't catch that before on the first listen. And so to me, that's what helps to make it fresh. As you keep listening to it, you're gonna get a gem out of it.
Yeah. I like to hide the gems.
Yeah, absolutely.